This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
It is the Stephen A. Smith Show, brought to you by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. You are not hearing the voice of Stephen A. Smith. You are hearing the voice of Matt Barrie alongside my SportsCenter colleague and friend Randy Scott. We're exactly who you would think would fill in for Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, we're the opposite of, because you're not going to have Stephen A. Smith like 2.0 fill in for Stephen A. You're going to
go as opposite as you can. We're essentially giving the Stephen A. audience an enema
it's like an ear canal, sometimes like you go in, you're not hearing well, you got a ringing in your ears, you're like, I gotta get this in. They pull out the ball of wax. We're the ball of wax.
We are. We're
the obstruction.
Who were the two whitest dudes we could have fill in today at 1:00?
I don't know. I mean, I freckle.
You said
all right.
You said you burn easy.
Yeah, real easy. Bruise easy too.
Like a peach.
Like a peach.
So Randy and Matt in for Stephen A. Smith today. Looking forward over the next 2 hours. It's become commonplace in sports now, especially when you least expect it. I know last week during the Super Bowl, the NBA came out and completely hijacked the news cycle with the Anthony Davis trade request last week. There was a couple of other deals that went down. And now here we are a day before the deadline, and it continues to be the biggest story in sports. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. And the topic of the day for me is not Anthony Davis. It's not Anthony Davis because we know what's going to happen there. It's LeBron James once again trying to muscle his way into doing whatever he wants with a franchise.
And it's going to happen. It's going to happen again for the third franchise, but for the fourth time. Because everywhere he's been, Matt, he's been able to get anything he wants. Anything. It's been coach. It's been players. It's been this. It's been that. He'll take weird breaks during a season. Remember when he missed a couple of weeks in Miami? Yeah. He wasn't even with the team. He's just like, I need some time. I'm like, all right, dude, but we kind of have some games we got to get to. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm out here. I got it. But last night was the first time I've seen a young group of teammates maybe push back a little bit.
And that's the point.
On LeBron. And I want to give them a lot of credit. And I want to do it now while they're in the same place, because this time tomorrow, they're probably going to be elsewhere.
I wanted to point that out, and I'm glad you put it that way, because they did. I mean, that was the worst loss of his career. And if you're sitting there, and if you're the Lakers,
the 42-point loss.
If you're one of these young players, the Kuzmas, the Lonzo Balls, the Brandon Ingram, some of these younger players on the roster, if you sit here and you're in the offseason and you're excited to play with LeBron because the Lakers signed him as the biggest offseason story,
yeah,
and then this dude's trying to ship you out for Anthony Davis, how are they supposed to respond? What are they supposed to do? How is this locker room, they're on the fringe of the playoffs anyway, I think they're down at 9th or 10th, how are they supposed to respond to the rest of the season? Because I don't believe Davis is getting up before the trade deadline. I just don't. I think there's too many advantages for the Pelicans to wait.
Well, okay, first of all, Anthony Davis should not be dealt before the trade deadline. New Orleans would be derelict in their own duty. Dell Demps would have a real problem on his hands with anybody who's paying attention in New Orleans if he were to jump at the first qualified offer. It's not to say the Lakers don't put together an enticing package. Like their spread, they bring you over to your house, like, man, look at this thing.
You think that's
this
enticing?
Thanksgiving. It's enticing.
You think Kuzma, Ball,
yes.
Who was the latest? Ingram?
Yeah. Those are talented young players, but it's not enough.
How is that enticing? How are those guys enticing when...
We'll get to that. It's a separate topic. It is. But let's give these young guys credit, because it wasn't just the fact that LeBron's sitting at the end of the bench with 3 full seats between himself and his nearest teammate. Okay, that sends a little bit of a message. But it's also the fact that there was a timeout later in that game where the teammates get up. Okay, we'll go with the coach for now, Luke Walton. He's going to draw something up. Everybody gets up. That's customary. LeBron stayed on the bench all by himself. And I get that it's a 42-point game. You don't have some sort of rock and jock play. It's going to get you 5-6 points at a time. You're not getting back in the game, but you still do it if you're a leader of this team. You do. You get up, and he didn't.
I just have never... Randy Scott, Matt Barrie, by the way, filling in for Stephen A. Smith, SportsCenter AM. I've just never encountered a player with this star power, with this wattage, that is so passive-aggressive. I've never encountered someone who wants to be an alpha so badly, but pouts in the way with which he pouts.
I'm spinning right now trying to come up with one, because he's in his own tier superstar.
His ability allows him to be the most coveted player to at least skill set play with. But in terms of being a teammate, I can't think of, unless you're young, like Anthony Davis idolized the guy. And he brings that up. He grew up idolizing LeBron James. But there isn't a dude that comes to a team that throws a wrecking ball to it until it figures itself out.
Here's what here's why you need to be very careful about playing with LeBron James. Okay, because unless you can do something for him, and that's why Anthony Davis being young, right? He's 25.
Yep. Which is amazing, by the way.
Anthony Davis can do something for LeBron that other young players in the league can't, because Anthony Davis is special. So LeBron needs Anthony Davis. Otherwise, if you do not provide something for LeBron, you are tradable at all times.
Coach included.
Yes, at all times. And what we've seen at different stops is the J.R. Smiths. I'm trying to think of other teammate friends who have sort of moved with him. You know what I mean? Team to team.
Kyle Korver.
Well, yeah, I mean, Korver's been an asset because, again, he stretches the
who's
the
another
field.
one of LeBron's guys?
He's someone that LeBron can utilize. Okay, if you have to respect Korver, so I get
You're missing the point,
open looks in the lane.
You're missing the point.
No.
Some of the guys that he brings along.
Yeah.
They're not going to challenge his authority.
That's also it, too.
Kyrie was the first one to step up and be like, you know what? I'm a pretty damn good basketball player myself, and I could run my own team.
Yeah.
He didn't like it.
No, and that's also someone who aspires to be an alpha, and I think the jury's still out on that with Kyrie. But for LeBron specifically, what you can do for job security in the NBA is buddy up to LeBron and provide something for him. Provide a service, something.
But what is
that? There is job security in that. There is, and that's why what happened or didn't happen last night on the bench, the fact that there wasn't some teammate sitting next to him, some sort of marginally NBA talented, but hey, I got to buddy up with the king here sort of thing. There was literally no one sitting next to him, and to me that sent as much of a message as anything else.
Where does this LA Lakers thing go? Where do the Lakers go with this?
8th seed.
No, they're not getting in.
They're only 2.5 games out.
And the Clippers did
tanking.
get rid of Tobias. Yeah.
The Clippers are in the 8th seed now, and they won't be in like a week.
So you believe they could make the playoffs as an 8 seed?
I think they could, and I think they get boat raced by the Warriors.
Let me ask you. Well, everybody's going to get.
But if you get up into the 7th seed, if they get Anthony Davis,
so they're in the 10 seed right now. Kings sit at 9.
There's some big ifs out there.
Here's what I will point out.
We need to have this convo tomorrow.
We can't. We're just doing radio today.
I know.
Are you? By the way, are you on Ion Sports Center tomorrow?
No, you and Briscoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to get my.
You got
schedule.
the Patriots coming through tomorrow.
Actual Patriots.
Who
are they going to send
Super Bowl
to us?
champions coming through?
Obi Melifonwu?
I think the McCourties are coming through.
The McCourty twins.
Mm-hmm.
They're nice fellas.
There's some fun there.
But if you're a superstar, if I'm Kawhi, I want nothing to do with LeBron James.
Brady's coming through.
Yeah, Tuami.
He's going to arm wrestle with Max.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Max Bredas.
Kellerman.
Oh. So say Bredas is out.
No,
in LA.
I'm joking. All right,
Brady would. There's a better chance that Belichick comes on this radio show today than Brady showing up on this campus.
That's very true.
Back to LeBron.
All right.
If I'm Kawhi, who's another big superstar that's rumored to come out to L.A.? Durant's another good one.
Yeah.
These guys, I would want nothing to do with LeBron. Absolutely nothing.
Is that an alpha v alpha thing? Like there's just not enough ball to go around. I don't want to deal with.
No, it's that he's passive aggressive, and then if he doesn't like what you're doing, he will be passive aggressive about it on social media and publicly call you out.
Should we talk about what LeBron did on social media last night?
Oh, let's please do that.
Okay,
because it's what all-time greats do.
He goes for 18 last night. It's a down night for LeBron. He's still not 100% coming back from the groin injury, but he's there, and it's the worst loss for him in a game where he's played. I guess the Cavs had some blowouts, but he didn't play those nights. But either way, 42-point loss, the worst of his career. On social media, you think maybe it's going to be one of these, like, setback for the comeback, sort of like canned lines, like a video, maybe he's getting up shots in a dark gym.
Yeah.
And the cameras just happen to be rolling. No.
Just a coincidence.
He puts up the all-time scoring list, and he's 5 on that list. That's impressive, but he's congratulating himself for getting to 32,000 points.
That's what I'm saying about this guy.
He dunked on Miles Turner last night, which is impressive. But he dunked on Miles, and he gave himself a shout out on social media.
The longer it goes, I worked with someone who used to say time will either promote you or expose you.
That's good.
And the longer we see and hear from LeBron, you cannot question his bona fides. He's one of the most talented players that has ever walked the planet.
Second best player ever.
But I'm a Kobe guy.
Third best. Kobe's the third.
You think? Okay.
No, not really.
Okay.
He's sixth.
Maybe 6.5.
Go ahead.
But you lost my train of thought now because I was going with the top six. He's the best, one of the best players to ever walk the planet.
Yeah, the bona fides you can't argue with.
But the more that we see and hear out of LeBron, the more I just continuously lose respect for him as an all-time great because of how he acts.
Okay.
What you got the coaching list pulled up, right?
Yeah. These are coaches who have
the
run
all-time
afoul.
Greats. How many coaches did Michael Jordan play for? Collins and Jackson. Doug Collins, Phil Jackson.
There might have been one before Doug. Maybe one before Doug Collins. I didn't. How many guys? We'll get research on that.
Kobe played for Phil Jackson. Did he have a Rudy Tomjanovich cup of coffee? Was that in there?
Yeah, maybe.
That awkward transition between Phil Jackson back to Phil Jackson.
Byron, did he play for Byron Scott?
Oh yeah, he may have been the
I can't
Byron.
remember.
But the point being is that I don't know that Kobe was in it to run coaches out.
No, but Kobe has some passive aggressive in his game as well, and certainly an alpha. You cannot argue with Kobe. I mean, that's why he ran Shaq out. Like Kobe, it was going to be his team, and then he won a title with it.
All right,
and trust me, I'm not a Kobe fan like you are, but like you have to give Kobe credit for winning a title with Pau Gasol, Ron Artest. I mean,
I am so pro Kobe.
He dragged that team to a title.
So if you are the Pelicans, and you know that you possess this asset that's Anthony Davis. There was a time maybe a year or two ago when people asking who you start your franchise with. Anthony Davis, by and large, was near the top of the list. If you're the Pelicans and you're in charge of the front office, how are you handling this asset?
Oh, he's not playing. He's not playing tonight. I'm not playing him. He is. Can we say that Anthony Davis has a bit of an injury history? That's fair to say. He starts a lot of games and finishes a lot of games. You know what I mean? Like he probably finishes 85% of the games he starts. Like he'll leave with a ankle tweak, a roll, shoulder twinge, something like that. So I'm not playing him. I'm going to see what I can get before the deadline tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. But I'm probably not going to deal him because I want all players. I want everybody to be able to sit down at this table and put their best cards on the table. I don't know that the Lakers offer is going to get any better than what it is, but it'll still be there.
Else.
But it'll still be there.
And let's talk about that because you trotted it out there a second ago. What makes that offer so great? If these dudes aren't good with LeBron, what makes you think they're going to be good in New Orleans?
These dudes are better without LeBron in terms of stats. Just putting numbers up, which is your best representation of what they're going to do for your team.
Data, correct.
If you trade for him, right? And Kyle Kuzma is a 20-point-a-night guy if he's not sharing a basketball with LeBron.
He's the key piece.
Brandon Ingram is mercurial. I don't know. I still can't figure him out. I think Lonzo in the right spot in a Phoenix where LeVar wants him to go. I could see Lonzo feeding Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I'm not, I'm not hating
Josh Jackson.
Josh Jackson too. I'm not hating that, but like these are Josh Hart. I think has come crashing to earth, but like these are not bad pieces. But you add to that the draft picks, multiple first round picks, which how good are they going to be if you have Anthony Davis and LeBron? You have to factor that in, but like it's a decent package. I think Boston can beat it. I think the Clippers might be able to rival it. You know what I mean? Like that to me is the due diligence that the Pelicans need to do. Sorry, you brought up the LeBron coaches. I want to pay that off.
The coaches he unemploys.
All right, starts with Paul Silas, gone. Won 35 games in LeBron's rookie season. No. Brendan Malone, David Blatt, Mike Brown, and then Luke Walton will probably be reckless speculation, but like let's just say Luke Walton doesn't survive the year. Then that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches that LeBron has overseen the firing of. Not been responsible for necessarily. I think he probably has more sway on that as a 33 or 34-year-old than he did as a rookie, but yeah, that's LeBron's, that's the wreckage he leaves behind.
So really the lead story, Matt Barrie, Randy Scott, filling in for Stephen A. Smith, is that Eric Spoelstra is the greatest coach of all time. He didn't get run out. He managed to manage that well.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. I mean, he survived it. He won, you want to say won LeBron's respect? Earned his respect? Stood up to him a little bit. You remember that when they bumped into each other coming out of a timeout?
Yeah, and we
blew it up.
Oh, man, what's going on? Maybe he just ran into him.
Frame by frame, Zapruder film, whole deal. So let's go back to what you had touched on pre-show about LeBron.
Yep.
And maybe a problem that goes beyond the Lakers. That's a league-wide issue with regard to players having too much control.
Well,
over.
it's a player run league.
Well, it is a play. It's been. I mean, you're not showing up to watch the coaches. You know what I mean? Like, you're showing up to see these players.
It's a player run league in that back in the day.
Yeah, we sound so old
back
right
in
now.
the 80s, back in the 90s, it's like you had the one dominant superstar on your team, and then you built the pieces around that superstar to make it a team. Now, this clique of, let's call it 8 to 10 players, all get together and decide where they want to play.
Like the Illuminati
to play,
of the NBA.
Correct. And they want to play together. And if you are outside of Oklahoma City, and if I'm a GM or I'm a front office person, I'm going to get with the Oklahoma City front office.
Yeah, Sam Presti.
Yeah, Presti, and figuring out,
Scared money don't make none.
how did you make this work? How did you get Westbrook, who everyone pointed to L.A., Paul George, everybody pointed to L.A., how did you get them to stay in a small market? Because right now, unless you are Boston, Philly, Golden State, L.A., both L.A. teams, even though I think people wanted to play for the Clippers is laughable. There's 5 teams in this league that have a shot every year.
You left out the Raptors,
No one wants to go to Toronto.
but this year the Raptors have a shot.
They're going to lose Kawhi Leonard. What's it matter?
They have a shot this year, right?
I'm not talking, but
if they win a title, do you think Kawhi's a little more likely to stay?
they're not winning a title. They were the 1 seed last year. They do this every year. What haven't you seen out of the Raptors where they're going to be a top 2 seed and get bounced in the playoffs?
I haven't seen him in the playoffs with Kawhi. I feel like that's a sizable difference. I think Milwaukee can play.
He'll bail.
Who's Milwaukee? All right, listen, just in the Eastern Conference, Boston, Toronto, Milwaukee, Philly. That's 4. Just in the East. And then in the West, Golden State, Houston, maybe the Clippers if they get their act together.
But I'm talking about the league-wide epidemic of pick and choose where you want to play. Sorry, love you, Wisconsin. No one's lining up to go play in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's a great town,
They're
man.
not lining up to go play for. And sorry, the taxes and the money in Toronto, see ya. No one's lining up to play in Toronto.
International.
Boston, people will line up and play there.
Massachusetts, though.
Philly, people will line up and play there. The other most overrated destination in sports, the New York Knicks.
You know what? You know what I'll put as overrated? As long as we're just slinging arrows, Texas. The whole state income tax thing is so overblown.
No, it's not. As
It
someone
is.
who lived in Dallas for 5 years, I can tell you, you know what? Go put your ESPN paycheck at a bank in Texas and see how much more you like it. Seriously.
I have an app. I'll use the app
Go
on
do
my
it.
phone.
Go. Will Cain's across the hall.
Yeah.
He'll come in here in his boots and twang and tell you how much better it is out there.
I'm not gonna go toe to toe on the merits of Texas with Will Cain.
That's
Not
a
on the
lose.
Stephen, not
That
on
is
the
a-
Stephen A. Smith show.
You
I'm
are
not doing
you'd be
it.
bringing silly string to a fight with that. Texas is not an overrated place.
No,
they've got an owner that cares.
I'm saying it's overrated as a destination for professional athletes. It's a great place to live.
I disagree.
like the
That's
food.
why all the retired
I like
athletes
the food.
live
I like
there.
the weather. All that stuff. All the retired athletes live in Florida
and Texas
and California.
and no, not California.
They do. Yes,
They do
in the
not.
NBA at that level of money, they do. Listen, the point is, and by the way, if you play in Texas, you play in the Western Conference, so you're going to play games in California, you pay the entertainment tax regardless, whether you live there or not. Fun fact, just putting that out there. What were we talking about? Oh, players being in control? Why shouldn't they be? Why shouldn't they have a say in where they go?
They can absolutely have a say in where they want to go.
But you're saying once they sign the contract, they should stick around for the deal?
I'm saying
Like the whole hey, I signed, I'm a year in, we're not one of the 4 or 5 teams Matt Barrie thinks we can win the title, so I want out.
No, what I'm saying is...
Because I do have a problem with that.
What I'm saying is that the New Orleans Pelicans
Yes.
hit the lottery, figuratively and literally, by getting Anthony Davis, a player that you should build a franchise around. Now, it is New Orleans' fault for not doing more to build around Anthony Davis, but my point is Anthony Davis is within his own control to say, you know what, I got drafted by this team, this is where I came up, but I'd rather go play with LeBron James. I'm done with the super team thing. I'm done with it.
Yeah, but if
It's not fun anymore.
If the money's there, and listen, if you want to debate this on the merits of Clutch, as a sports agency getting involved and Rich Paul sort of architecting this thing and it's sort of all being done behind the scenes and sort of a foregone conclusion before the games are even played, I'll have that conversation. But the whole fact of I don't know, the whole fact that these guys shouldn't be able to play with guys they like in cities they want to live. I mean, if they can swing it, if they can pull the strings and get that done without bailing on a contract a year in, I have a hard time arguing
Who's looking out for Portland? Who's got Portland's best interest? Who's got Sacramento's best interest?
Portland has good pieces. Just be better on the court, like win games, and they have. They fell victim to the Pelicans last year, but like Nurkic is having a good season. You know what Dame Lillard is. You know what McCollum is. Like
I don't think Damian Lillard's long for that.
But sometimes it creates. Sometimes you have to have the right superstar. Like you have to have somebody who's going to fit in with Portland, which is kind of a weird place. And Nurkic is kind of a weird dude, and so is Lillard, and it works. And sometimes then you get these special areas, and it happened in Golden State, and it happened in Oakland, where you get athletes that represent the city in which they live. Maybe they're not from there, but they rep that city so well, and they fit in so well, and that can lead to some of the stuff that we talk about like a decade later, like a special run for a special team in that city, instead of just these hired mercenaries who are drafted in Cleveland and go play in Miami and then go chase rings elsewhere.
But that's what they do. They ring chase. Spurs didn't ring chase. The San Antonio Spurs did not ring chase during those dynasties.
And that's what
drafted
made it
those
special.
guys. They drafted Duncan. They drafted Ginobili. They drafted Tony Parker. Kawhi Leonard, they developed.
Yeah, they did.
That doesn't happen anymore. It's because of LeBron.
You're so young to be this get off my lawn guy.
I'm not that young anymore.
You're not.
I've got a 4 in front of my name.
But you look it though. Like
I know.
you sleep like 10 hours a night. What are we?
12.
What are we banking?
For my 3:30 for my 3 a.m. wake up call for Sports Center, I go to bed at 3 in the afternoon.
Sleeping lotion.
I shovel my snow,
moisturize,
go in bath salts, and then show up at work looking like this. Our ESPN NBA insider Kevin Pelton is going to join us here coming up in just a bit. That's Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Coming up next, we'll continue with the trade deadline just around the corner. ESPN NBA insider Kevin Pelton going to join us. What will be done? Will AD stay or go? And how much sway does LeBron have with Magic Johnson and the Lakers? That's all coming up next. Randy Scott, Matt Barrie filling in for Stephen A. Smith.
Hey, Peloton is a game-changing indoor cycling bike that brings the energy of live studio classes right to your home. Anytime you want, winter or summer, rain or shine, whether it's a monthly challenge to meet your goals, a training program for your next race, or setting a new personal best, the Peloton bike will make you want to show up and keep climbing the live leaderboard year-round. On average, Peloton members are riding their bikes more every year and crushing their personal records along the way. Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom.
I can't believe it.
That Gerald is presenting the quarterly budget report with finger puppets?
Look, here comes a 1.7% decrease in fixed overhead. Hello, everybody.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Who are you? The projected increase in organic Q3 revenue. Hooray!
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
ESPN Radio presented by Progressive Insurance with more than 30 unique coverage options available. Progressive knows small business. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. And with the Vivid Seats app, it's easy to find awesome seats to any game. Download the app to enter the promo code CHAMPS and check out to get 10% off your first order. Randy Scott, Matt Barrie, in for Stephen A. Smith. Our apologies for that.
Yeah, people are not happy.
No, we are not, in fact, the same person, by the way. How we get confused on television, which the last time I checked is a visual medium, is incredible.
Yeah, people just listen. They got us on in the background, and they're like, all right, these voices.
Like, wow. I know when Randy's on, when someone's tweeting me on my days off about some corny joke you just made on television.
Yeah, I don't want you getting credit for my jokes.
I don't want. Let me tell you, the last thing that I want is to be mistaken for your jokes. Joining us now, ESPN NBA insider Kevin Pelton, the day before the trade deadline. And Kevin, we were just getting into the Anthony Davis saga, the LeBron James saga. Woj just tweeted a second ago that the Pelicans still haven't responded to the Lakers' most recent trade proposal. And Kevin, I want to know, if the Pelicans aren't texting back, why are the Lakers still pursuing this if there doesn't seem to be even interest?
Yeah, I mean, I guess based on Woj's reporting yesterday that they're not at this point because they don't want to keep bidding against themselves and raising this offer without hearing anything from New Orleans. I think at this point, really, the ball is very much in the Pelicans' court. I mean, if they want to either take the proposals that are out there or come back with a counter offer that maybe is, not dramatically higher than that, then that's the chance that something gets done between now and the deadline. I'm sure that, the discussion happening right now in the Pelicans front office is, Zach Lowe wrote about very well today on ESPN.com is, is this enough, or do we still want to wait and see what Boston's willing to offer this summer?
I don't see why, if you are Dell Dumps, if you're anybody in the rather complicated front office there in New Orleans, I don't see why you wouldn't wait. The offer from the Lakers would be there come June or July, so why not wait around and see where the draft picks fall and see what you could get there. If this deal doesn't get done, let's say Anthony Davis is still a Pelican by this time tomorrow and actually by the NBA trade deadline here, Kevin, give us the most impactful free agent or rather trade target that'll be out there that'll make the biggest difference in the second half.
I think probably Mike Conley at this point, as far as making a difference in the playoff race. If he goes to Utah in particular, that could elevate the Jazz, into the mix in that kind of second tier in the Western Conference of teams competing to, one of them is going to get to the Western Conference Finals and have their shot, presumably at the Warriors. And, I don't think Utah is in that group without Mike Conley, but they get him, they evolve into it.
Listening to the Le Batard show prior to this one coming on, and they were having fun with the fact that Le Batard seems to believe that there really isn't a blockbuster every year, like that earth-shattering trade. Like there was one last year, maybe a couple of years prior to that, there were just little ones. How much action? Because Thon Maker for Stanley Johnson, Tobias Harris, that was a pretty sizable move. In terms of where we sit about 24 hours from the deadline, let's take Anthony Davis out of that because I think that's going to be more flirtation than action. How much do you believe that there's that deal that's hanging out there that maybe we're not even aware of that could happen by tomorrow?
I mean, we could be surprised. No one saw this Tobias Harris trade coming, and even though, he's not the biggest name in the world, wasn't an all-star this year, was just a candidate for it, it still kind of got some sizable ramifications, not only for the Sixers and Clippers, but then for a bunch of other teams. So that we could be surprised. I think it's the Memphis guys. Conley and Gasol are probably the biggest names that end up getting traded most likely tomorrow, and then a number of kind of smaller moves, contenders filling out their rotation.
We're talking with Kevin Pelton, our NBA writer for ESPN, co-host of the self-described fabulous Pelton cast. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just vouch for that. It is fabulous. And Kevin, with regard to Tobias Harris on his new team, just from a basketball standpoint on court, how is there enough ball to go around in Philadelphia with Jimmy Butler, now Tobias, and obviously Ben Simmons and Embiid?
Yeah, that's going to be the question. I mean, I don't think Harris comes in with kind of the same expectations of being the man, getting the ball on a regular basis as those other three guys. And the nice thing about it in terms of the fit is, Butler was a little bit questionable because of the fact that he's not a great catch-and-shoot option. Harris is. He's shooting over 40% from three-point range this year. Really, in some ways, it feels like, if the Sixers hadn't made the Butler trade and it just made this trade, it would make a lot more sense for them than the combination of both of them.
Kevin, when you see where the NBA is right now, I maintain that it's a 4.5, maybe 5-team league that can win a championship. And you see these franchises this time of year, they dump salary, they try to acquire draft picks, they give up on the now to maybe play for the future with these max contracts. The Knicks are the perfect example of that. Do you believe the NBA has a problem with teams forgetting about the now and trying to go for a future that may or may not even exist?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the Clippers are probably the more interesting example because it's not like the Knicks were doing anything this year anyway. Like, they lose Kristaps Porzingis, that's a concern, but he wasn't playing due to his ACL injury. But the Clippers are fascinating because they were the favorites, I think, to get the 8th seed in the West. They moved 2.5 ahead of the Lakers with their win and the Lakers blowout loss last night. The Kings being in between those two teams. And they decided to punt on that because of the fact that the Sixers kind of overwhelmed them with draft picks in this offer, and they knew that, if they are able to sign 2 max free agents this summer, as they hope, that Harris probably wouldn't be coming back, that he wouldn't be coming back in that scenario. So that's kind of the fascinating one, but I feel like, fans, it's kind of like college recruiting. They're so invested in what's happening next, who can we get, the draft, everything like that, I don't know if there is the kind of objection to it that, you might see in a sport that wasn't as focused on the future.
Again, he's an NBA writer for ESPN. He has the columns and the grades up right now. I think some of it's on ESPN Plus, but if you're not on ESPN Plus, what are you even doing with your life? And he's Kevin Pelton, and he's with us on the Stephen A. Smith Show. And you have grades up for the Thon Maker Stanley Johnson swap, but I'm more interested in the Tobias Harris trade. Who got the better of this? Because I think first blush, if you're a Sixer fan or even just paying attention in the Eastern Conference, you're like, oh, Philly got Boban, Boban and Embiid are going to be on the same team, but they got Tobias Harris. And then there are people who are like, no. The smart money here is on the Clippers winning this deal. Who won this trade, Kevin?
Yeah, I think the Clippers. And it's really a short-term versus long-term thing. I mean, the Sixers are betting on, improving their chances of getting the NBA Finals this year. The next few years, this starting five that they have is deep as any team in the league now. They don't, J.J. Redick also is a free agent. They'll have to re-sign him in addition to Harris and Butler. But, if they bring back those five guys, that's as deep as anyone around. Now, the question, though, is, number one, the cost, because, Harris is going to get a max offer from someone else. You're going to have to either max him out or come very close. Butler, similar situation. You re-sign both of those guys, and then in a year, Ben Simmons comes up for an extension. He becomes a max player. All of a sudden, you're looking at a giant luxury tax bill. You don't necessarily have the draft picks coming in because you've given out two of those in this trade. And that's where I think the long term starts to hurt the Sixers, whereas the Clippers have this fascinating thing where, another thing I wrote about is I don't think the Lakers should go all in on Anthony Davis because of the fact that, they're going to be so thin and have very few ways to improve. Even if the Clippers go out and sign a couple max guys, they're still going to have some other useful pieces on the roster. And now they've got young players, Landry Shamet, who they added in this trade, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and draft picks coming in. They're in a position to have kind of more sustainable success, I think.
All right, Kevin Pelton, ESPN NBA insider, with some nuggets the day before the trade deadline. Kevin, thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
The NBA has worked itself into this. He was just going over all of these moves, and I give the NBA a lot of credit because, by and large, it's the football society, right? Like, football is the one everybody wants to talk about. But all of the deals and happenings that go on into the NBA, they do such a good job of grabbing the news cycle. But I'm going to need someone to give me one team that can beat the Warriors for me to take it all seriously. Give me one.
Right now or by this time tomorrow?
When Boogie gets 10 games in and he's feeling good, dish me one team that can make this conversation interesting. Man. It's not.
I think Denver's a problem. I think Denver's a problem for anybody. But in a 7-game series, like I could see Denver jumping up and getting Golden State if we're 3 of 5, like it used to be. But they're too high seeded; they wouldn't match up. I don't see it, man. I don't. Not this year. But Boogie's not coming back. That's the thing.
Okay, but that's
it's a 1-year problem.
I'm living 1-year problem. They've won the last 2 titles.
No, but it's a 1 year. It's like Golden State has weaknesses without Boogie Cousins. We saw that last year. I mean, if
Chris Paul's healthy,
if you and I are out there and we luck into like one made 3 in that Game 7 for Houston, the Rockets go to the finals. We don't know what's going on. So they're not the world beaters that they were. The NBA has caught up. The league has caught up to Golden State enough to throw some doubt into these playoffs.
Okay.
But with Boogie, you're right. I mean, it's Death Star.
That's frightening.
2.0.
I'm going to give you right now, we've got to come up with a bet by the end of the show.
Come up with a bet?
I will take Golden State. I will give you the field.
Man. All right.
We'll come up with something.
All right.
Maybe shave your head.
I'm not shaving my head. It's not happening. I don't know what's going to come back. Like, I don't have the faith in it coming back.
I wouldn't either if I were you.
Yeah,
it's very thin.
It's not
so
thin.
It's thin.
That's actually rude. It's what it is the hairline itself is higher than it
is
used to
higher.
be.
Yeah.
So like what's here is here, but like I don't want to burn the crops.
So what happens when you go to get a haircut? Do you wonder like, oh, we're gonna have that conversation with like, you know what, Randy, it's the receding is well into the re-seeding.
No. I don't have that conversation. The conversation that I'll have is like, if you see something that shouldn't be there, tell me.
Like see something, say something.
Otherwise, let me sleep. Like I'll fall asleep in that chair.
Will you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't.
I do.
How?
Because I don't get the 12 hours of sleep that you get. That's the point.
So wait a second. How long does a haircut take?
For me?
15, 20 minutes?
Well, I got some.
This is where
I got some stuff.
This is where I'm not supposed to tell you.
I got some color.
That Randy colors his hair.
I've been going gray since I was 16, man.
You were that guy.
What do you mean that guy? I was touched by God. Sorry.
What the hell does that mean? With gray hair?
Yeah, it wasn't. You can have good blessings and bad blessings, and that's a bad one. It wasn't good.
You were unbelievable.
We should have had a break in 2 minutes ago.
No, I'm not. Clock integrity means nothing to me right now when I get to talk about your gray hair.
I need to be saved by this bell.
Coming up next, what used to be a favorite day of mine has been ruined.
Oh, no.
And they're taking some of my most favorite things away from me.
The McRib?
Yeah. Is that coming back? Matt Barrie, Randy Scott in for Stephen A. Smith. That coming up next.
Hey, do you have frequent heartburn? Like the kind where you have antacid stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag or your desk or your car or your nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day. It'll last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. So kick your antacid habit. It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
DJ Cat Attack.
It's good.
Coming correct with
this is good.
The low PP. Get Triple X Protect for optimal engine performance with Shelby Power Nitro plus premium gasoline. Matt Barrie, Randy Scott in for Stephen A. Smith because who else?
Natural fits.
It is. It's one of those things that, like, when Stephen A's not in, Matt and Randy.
People are loving it.
Hey, I have to get something out there to the people, and you can call in or hit us up on Twitter, 188-SAY-ESPN. I was on a red-eye flight last night from Los Angeles back here to the mainland in Connecticut. By the way, there used to be one direct red-eye.
Yeah.
And American Airlines got rid of it. Not happy about it.
Okay.
It's neither here nor there. What I'm curious about, what are approved rules for etiquette on a red-eye? Because my seat neighbor thought that it was okay 3 minutes into boarding, we're sitting down getting comfortable for the next 5+ hours in the flight. Right out of the gate, throws off the shoes.
See, that's a problem.
Right out,
that's an issue.
Didn't even wait for me to fall asleep. It's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to drop trow and take off my shoes.
Yeah, drop trow is a different thing, but you are sitting right next to this person?
Yes.
It was a packed
flight.
Packed flight.
I'm on the window. I always get a window and a red eye.
So you can lean against it.
I've got the REI travel pillow, which, by the way, get an REI travel pillow.
Okay, all right.
And this person next to me says, hey, how are you? Good.
Shoes off.
Shoes off. Like they were Murray Goldberg just getting home from work.
Now he dropped trow. Now you're flying from LA with these flip-flops?
No, these were
full
shoes.
California. These are shoes. So we got
socks.
Sockinged feet underneath.
Yes.
It's a problem. Because the feet probably didn't smell great.
No, and I almost wanted to call
call the flight attendant?
Yeah, because think about it. You're already sleeping with 150+ strangers.
Can I offer you unsolicited advice?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're going to radio. We're going to talk to each other.
Well, no, I mean, what you do is you wait till that person falls asleep.
And stab them?
No, and ring the flight attendant's call button and be like, he was making a weird noise and then he just passed out.
Or what if
they'll wake that person up.
Turn the light on.
It doesn't fix the shoe
front
problem.
of them. It doesn't fix the shoe problem.
But for me, if somebody falls asleep on me or against me, you know what I mean on those flights?
More Stephen A. coming up next.
Right. That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Let's consider the secret life of the innermost nesting doll. Living most of her life in the dark, inside the other nesting dolls, she has plenty of time to think, if she could. Sadly, she has no brain. However, when an innermost nesting doll hears that Geico not only saves people money, but also has been providing great service for over 75 years, she thinks it's obvious you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. Pity the innermost nesting doll and her lot in life.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app. From lovely Bristol, snowy Bristol.
No, it's not.
By the looks of it. No, I'm looking at the video
melted
right now. Nope, I just looked at the drone footage.
It's all melted.
I don't know.
That's canned drone footage.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Matt Barrie, Randy Scott, looking at your TV screen on, what are we on, ESPN News? I'm screen right. Matt is screen left. Matt is tan. I am not. Matt doesn't have kids. He gets sleep. I have kids.
Well
and
rested.
I don't. He looks younger than his age.
I take in
age
vitamin D.
like a president, like a 2-term president.
I indulge at happy hour.
So, Matt, in our first hour, we were rather NBA dominant, rather basketball dominant. There'll be a basketball discussion in this hour. Jalen Rose had some interesting comments about Zion Williamson. A lot of people have already sort of penciled in as the number one pick come draft time. And Jalen says, yeah, okay, but he probably tempers the enthusiasm, maybe pumps the brakes on the NBA ceiling for Zion. So we'll hear what he had to say earlier today. But why don't we turn things to, speaking of warmer temperatures and snow melting.
Oh, it's my favorite time of year.
Right? Baseball season. I think pitchers and catchers for the A's are the first team to report, and I want to say that's in a week.
Oh, yeah, next weekend.
Like 8 days? Yeah. Jeff Passan is here. Senior MLB insider. Do I have that right? I want to make sure I get the title right.
I don't even know what the title is, but if you want to call me that, great.
You didn't start here to be hazed about your title.
No,
like,
wait,
we're trying
yes,
to make you
Hang
feel
on a
welcome.
second. I do want to get into that real quick because we don't get titles. Like, it's like Dope 1, Dope 2, host Sports Center. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get senior Sports Center host or how do you guys work? How does the title thing work in your world?
I mean, clearly I wasn't coming here unless senior was in front of the name, right?
True. I mean, that's true.
Obviously.
So then you make the senior demand, and then what?
And then I realized that I've reached the ceiling because what's beyond senior?
What?
Like I have. I mean, do I become graduate?
So in
PhD? What's
in
next?
your world, what are Kirkjian and Buster? Are they like
gods?
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, you gave him an opportunity there.
So they're sirs.
Could have started beef and then we just left it the way it was. So Jeff, ahead of the upcoming, so the MLB owners are meeting now. Next week?
Meeting started today.
Started today, and rule changes are something that this time of year, every year, they discuss. A lot of times it gets fans' hopes up because they want to speed up the game. They want more offense. They want a better product on television. Of the proposed rule changes, some of the favorites that Matt and I have, Matt, I don't want to steal some of yours, so I'll go ahead and pick one that I know you're not as keen on.
Okay.
Why don't we go with, I'll go the 3 batter minimum for pitchers. That's a proposed rule change where you don't get any more of these like, oh, there's a lefty up, we're going to get our left-handed specialist in, get that guy out, then another pitching change, and it bogs the game down. What's the likelihood of that rule actually coming to pass?
You know, I think the first I heard about this was 3 or 4 years ago, and Theo Epstein had brought it up at general managers meetings because I think he saw the way the game was going, that starting pitchers were pitching fewer innings than they ever have before, and that teams recognized that platoon splits are important enough where they were going to load up their team. I mean, if you look at an average roster right now, I think more teams carry 13 pitchers than not.
Middle relievers are a trendy thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're getting barely 5 innings out of an average start, and when you have the Tampa Bay Rays doing what they're doing with a rotation of 2 guys and bullpenning the rest of the time, it's optimal statistically. Where it's not optimal is watching the game and you have pauses and you have breaks and the game slows down for those last 4 or 5 innings.
Sure.
And it's like, what has baseball become other than a never-ending carousel of relief pitchers? And on top of that, and I say this with no disrespect intended to relievers because I think that their role in the game is important and fantastic. Relievers are failed starters. Do you want your game, half of it, becoming something in the hands of a guy who couldn't do another job?
That's interesting. I never even thought of it that way.
Do you say that financially or just strictly?
I say it just as a fan who likes seeing the best players play.
Yeah.
It's what's bothered me about the All-Star game. The All-Star game ends every year with backups. And they're still all-stars, but they're not the best players in the world.
So it sounds like to me, because my follow-up question was going to be, so do you believe baseball has a problem with its style and pace of play? And you kind of answered it within that question.
I think as a baseball fan, I like baseball. I like baseball fast. I like baseball slow. I think over 162 games, you have such a wide variation of them that I enjoy it. What I think Rob Manfred and Tony Clark need to be looking at, though, is who else likes baseball? Does the casual fan believe that this parade of relievers is something that is enjoyable to watch. And I think that what they've come to is the answer is no.
I will take it one step further. I don't know that baseball has a huge legion of casual fans.
It doesn't.
I think it's diehard guy in the stands that keeps the manual scorebook and then everybody else.
Yeah, and look, baseball doesn't have the fantasy element of football. In some regards, baseball's closer to hockey. It's a very local game now. And you see that reflected in the ratings in the postseason.
Jeff Passan, ESPN senior MLB insider, joining us as we embark on another spring training. What are the other proposed rule changes? This one I'm all in on because I've never quite understood why baseball has adopted a rule set in one league, the American League and the DH, yet the senior circuit, as they like to call it, still has the pitchers hitting. I believe it's a better product when you have a professional hitter hitting as opposed to a professional pitcher trying to hit. What do you think will happen with the universal DH rule?
It's coming. I don't think it's going to come this year. And I don't think the 3-batter minimum is necessarily going to come this year either. I mean, the two parties could look at each other and say, okay, you want this, we want that, let's both do it. But from a club perspective right now, you've spent the entire winter building your team in a particular way. If you have a one-handed left-out guy on your roster right now, he is superfluous when there's a 3-batter minimum. Because if he can come in and if he can come in and face only lefties, you're not going to often find 3 lefties in a row in a particular lineup.
Right.
On top of that, if you're a National League team and your best DH option is a utility guy, are you really going to want to throw a bat out there like that? Or are you going to want to go and get somebody who could actually hit the ball?
Sure.
And so because of that, I think teams are going to say, okay, give us a year to figure this out, and next offseason we will address these and we can implement them.
And I'll tell you, the DH has prolonged some careers.
Sure.
Like some of these guys that couldn't play every day, they could still grab a stick and go hit 5 times a game.
Do you guys think it's an accident that the New York Mets traded for Robinson Cano, who looks like he's probably going to need to be a DH within 2 years?
I mean, these are the Mets, man. Like, yeah, maybe. Like, it could have been.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, yeah, it could have just been a short-sighted.
Like, oh, Cano.
Totally
was good. He was good.
Totally reasonable and fair
but I
point.
understand.
But I think they believed that the universal DH was coming, and that when it came, Robinson Cano was going to be a perfect guy to put in that spot.
All right. So a 20-second pitch clock, the likelihood of that coming through.
I'm not going to bet a paycheck on it.
Not at senior MLB insider money.
Clearly not.
Maybe junior.
There you go.
Sophomore, probably. But I think it's happening this year. And I think it's happening because Rob Manfred can put it in unilaterally. If he decides that he wants a pitch clock, and I don't think that this is the type of situation where he's using this to posture. I think he clearly believes that a pitch clock is the right thing based on the fact that it's been in the minor leagues and it has been successful at cutting game times. He can do that this year. And the only question for him is, does he want to give the union something back for acceding to this? Players don't like it, but I think they understand that it's inevitable at this point, and they want to extract as much as they can.
What are the optics of that, though? What's this pitch clock going to look like?
It will literally be a clock that's on an outfield wall or in the outfield somewhere, and I believe when the ball gets back to the pitcher and it's in his glove, 20 comes up and starts the countdown. Now,
and then what happens?
So on or off the mound, just as soon as he gets the ball back, that's it.
I believe that's the case.
Does he get electrocuted at 20? Like, what happens at 20?
It's going to be really sad to see a pitcher get electrocuted on the mound, isn't it?
Throw it
Blake
before 20
Snell is
seconds.
down.
Yeah. I mean, get rid of it in 20 seconds.
The trainers are tending to Chris Sale.
Well, part of this and what the union is proposing is that penalties, which would be a ball if you're still holding it when the clock hits 0.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Penalties would not be implemented until May 1st. Give them a month to get used to it. Let them understand what the pace of the game is going to look like and how this affects them. And even then, do you get a warning? If you get a warning, is that warning a team warning or a player warning? If you have a team warning, then a player warning, and then a penalty on the third time, I could see it going that way. And I think that's a reasonable compromise, at least in the first year.
Then you let the pitchers police themselves, right? Like if you've got a teammate who's constantly, a habitual line stepper with some of these rules, and you're like, listen, man, you're getting me in trouble. You're going to
then you
probably
start
self-police.
electrocuting.
It's going to be kangaroo court.
Then you start
Listen, couches get dirty that way when you have habitual
saying,
line steppers.
They should have never given you guys money. Our senior MLB insider, Jeff Passan, is with us on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Can we get on to the free agents now?
No, I had one more thing I wanted to get to.
On the rule changes?
No, my proposed rule change. What? We'll get to the two in a minute.
Oh, my word. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You ready for this?
Yes.
After the 12th inning, if the game's still tied, and this is professional baseball, and you cannot score another run or untie a game, I believe runners should start on second base.
Funny you say that, actually.
Don't validate
because
this.
one of the proposals that's on the table right now is in spring training games, in the 10th inning, a runner starts on second base, and in the All-Star game,
beautiful.
A runner starts on second base.
There isn't a more counterproductive happening in sport than a game of baseball that goes more than 12 innings.
I mean, what about hold on a second.
What's the point?
Counter argument. To me, the most iconic, and I say that knowing baseball doesn't have a ton of iconic moments. Randy Scott's pointing at me
walk off.
right
You're going walk-offs here?
I'm not going walk-off.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say
those can happen in the bottom of the ninth.
The most iconic thing that happened in the baseball postseason this year was Nathan Eovaldi going out and pitching 6 innings on like 1 day rest in the 18-inning World Series game. That got Nathan Eovaldi $68 million this offseason.
Look, I don't doubt that there are moments that happen, but you know what? I also don't doubt that after you play an 18-inning game, you eat up your bullpen. The next day's game is absolutely shot. So you're cannibalizing your own product.
And beyond that, the injury risk would theoretically go up too. And that's why I think the players, look, if something like this gets implemented during the regular season, it's going to be the most drastic change we've seen in baseball, probably since the designated hitter, right?
Amazing.
Look, as somebody who coaches his 11-year-old son.
There it is.
Here it is. Here it comes.
There it is.
As a coach.
I freaking hate that rule.
Why?
I hate it.
As someone who was hosting Highlight Express till 5 a.m. in the morning, and waiting for a game to get over 20 innings.
It was Mariners, Orioles from Seattle. 17 innings.
I had A's Angels.
Oh, you had a different one?
A's Angels. I was on with Zubin Mehenti.
Sunday night?
And we set a Tom Roche record. We walked when the sun was coming up.
Yeah.
You know what the amazing thing is, though? You remember exactly who was playing.
Yeah, and I remember that was the day I broke up with baseball. I'm like, sorry, I can't do this anymore.
I remember leaving Bristol at about 5 a.m., driving back to Boston where I live.
Yeah.
And hitting AM commuter traffic and being like, what? Where was everybody? Why is there so many cars on the road here?
I got home.
That was part of it.
I got home and I told my wife, I was like, I don't know what I've done.
Yeah. I should just sit around.
I should not have left Dallas. I should have not have left Dallas to come do this.
All right. Senior MLB insider Jeff Passan with us. The Stephen A. Smith Show. Matt Barrie, Randy Scott. The guys who are waiting to figure out where they're reporting come spring training. We said it's less than 10 days away from the first team pitchers and catchers. And it's more than just Manny Machado and Bryce Harper who are still out there, but they feel like the linchpins here, right? Like they have to be the first dominoes to fall before the other names find out where they're going. And there's significant other names out there.
Start there. Why don't we have a home for those guys?
I think where it started is in 2 different places.
Okay.
Manny Machado and Bryce Harper were up here, and I'm raising my very short arm as high as I can.
Well, your suit's buttoned up.
My suit is definitely being tugged right now.
Yeah.
And the teams were down here.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, they're coming to that point in the middle where they're going to meet. Now, if either Dan Lozano, who's Manny Machado's agent, or Scott Boras, who's Bryce Harper's agent, had said, we're going to start the bidding at $200 million and see where it goes, I think we would be looking at something different. But the strategy that they took, and I don't know at this point because no contract has been signed yet, whether it was the right strategy or the wrong strategy, was to shoot high, to shoot crazy, and to hope that somebody went up there. Now, that still may happen, but the likelihood of it now, as spring training approaches, I think is a lot less than it was a few months ago.
Did they start at 300?
Oh, they started well over 300.
Well over 300.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because remember, we're talking Bryce Harper, once in a generational type player that's going to command the market. Yep. And here we sit 10 days before spring training. There's nothing there.
I get it. And I think the reason that they started well over 300 is because the second largest free agent contract ever signed was Alex Rodriguez, 10 years, $252 million. That happened in 2000. Like, we were worried about Y2K. Yeah. I mean,
follow me to freedom.
That's seriously where we were. And here we are in 2019, and the largest free agent contract ever was given to Alex Rodriguez when he opted out of that first deal after 7 years and re-signed with the Yankees for 10 years and $275 million. Since then, revenues, inflation adjusted, have doubled. Major League Baseball at the time was making $3.3 billion as an industry. It's about $5 billion in today's money. This year, the league made more than $10 billion. Whoa. And so why haven't the top-end salaries gone up commensurate with that? That's the question that the players are asking.
That's local TV money. Has to be.
A lot of it, sure.
Because the numbers don't warrant that type of profit.
Right. A lot of it is local TV money, but Major League Baseball has become such a good business in terms of sponsorship. Clearly, we know at ESPN the value of streaming, and MLB started Major League Baseball Advanced Media with a $3 million investment from every team. Wow. That has turned into a multi-billion-dollar corporation that houses everything from ESPN Plus to HBO to what's about to be Disney Plus. I mean, it was a huge windfall for the league.
Breaking news out here. Multimedia news for our senior MLB insider. You hear that? Disney Plus?
That's what I do.
It's news to me. I'm a Disney cast member.
You don't pay attention.
I'm not on the earnings calls.
You need to read
it. You didn't read the Iger email?
I read the email. Hold on. Now, I read the email.
I would like everyone to know that was Randy Scott's voice that doesn't pay attention to what Bob Iger says.
I do.
Maybe you should go to a town hall here and there.
I think we had another baseball question for
that was senior Sports Center anchor Randy
Jeff
Scott.
The biggest non-Machado Harper free agent name out there that'll fall first. That domino that falls first. With Dallas Keuchel, Craig Kimbrell, what are we
Marwin Gonzalez? Does he count?
Yeah,
I think
impactful. He's a World Series
those
champ.
are the big five right now. Kimbrell, Keuchel, Gonzalez. I don't know where Kimbrell lands. I don't know if it's Atlanta. If it's back in Boston, which makes all the sense in the world because right now the Red Sox, the defending champions, are going into the season with their 8th and 9th innings commanded by Ryan Brazier and Matt Barnes. Mm-hmm. Now, Kimbrell makes total sense there, but the Red Sox are already over the luxury tax threshold. So every dollar that they're spending is going to be taxed at 50%, meaning if Craig Kimbrell signs a contract with an average annual value of, let's even say $16 million a year, it's going to cost the Red Sox $24 million this year. Ooh. Is that an investment that they want to make? Tough one to make.
Yeah. All right, because Randy's not good at follow-up questions, I'll get back to the topic at hand that I think everybody wants to
what was that?
Figure out. Where do you believe, where does your reporting, where do your sources tell you that we're likely going to see Bryce and Machado?
I have changed this answer so many times.
Okay.
You know, at one point, it was Harper to the Phillies and Machado to the Yankees. At another, it was Harper back to Washington and Machado to the White Sox. The Padres have jumped in. I mean, look, there's not a lack of suitors at this point for these guys. It's a lack of suitors who are willing to pay what the players believe their market value is. And you can argue that the market value is what the market says it is as opposed to what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's where the impasse is at this point, that Manny Machado and Bryce Harper believe their market should be somewhere that the clubs simply don't agree with. And they're willing to sit out. I don't know how long. I mean, that's what we're getting to at this point. How long are Bryce Harper and Manny Machado willing to wait? And clearly, they're willing to go to the eve of spring training. Does that mean they're willing to miss the beginning of spring training? Does that mean they're willing to miss spring training games? Does that mean they're willing to potentially miss regular season games?
It's like real estate. You're worth what someone's willing to pay for the house.
That's it.
And if you set your price at X amount and no one's willing to buy it, then it's not worth that much money. But it's almost as if...
But why? I guess the question they're asking is why isn't it worth this much?
Because it's almost as if baseball's getting together and saying, you know what? We are just not going to let it get to this point.
And if that's the case, Matt, that's called collusion.
Yeah, well, guess what? Guess what? It's not collusion if no one's signing it. If no one's signing them and they're just like, we're not going to pay you $300 million. We're not going to pay you $300 million. Then each team lines up and says, we're not paying you this type of money. And then ultimately the price is going to be driven down. And then you might see the teams hop in.
Here's the problem with collusive behavior. It's a legal term called treble damages. So if you are found to have engaged in collusion, whatever the damage amount is, they triple it. And treble damages were assessed to baseball back in the collusion cases in the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that owners are fearful of. As well they should be, because that's a lot of money.
So if Team X says we're not paying you $300, or $300 million, that's collusion.
No, it's not collusion. But when the teams line up and all do it for the exact same reasons, you can potentially make a collusion case. It's there doesn't have
hard to
be
prove.
Exactly.
That's it.
But there doesn't have to be a smoking gun. There doesn't have to be, to steal a phrase from Hamilton, there doesn't have to be a room where it happened. This can happen. This can happen
It's
with
a very intelligent interview.
It was his way of telling us he's seen Hamilton.
Yeah, that was exactly. That was a humble brag, and he probably saw it on a weekend. Not a matinee either.
No, it's a senior. What did we say? We said
senior
MLB insider. Jeff Passan, and I think the sea change with guys signing. It was JD Martinez last year.
Yep,
he didn't sign until February 26th.
Jake Arrieta too didn't sign until March 3rd, I believe. I mean, this is
impactful players.
This is a trend.
All right, he's Jeff Passan. You're not. Jeff, thank you for the insight. It's Matt Barrie, Randy Scott with you on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. We will get back into basketball when we come back. We've got Zion Williamson, who Jalen Rose is suddenly a bit down on.
I love this.
A bit down on. You will want to hear what Jalen had to say about the prohibitive number one pick come NBA draft time. Again, Matt Barrie, Randy Scott in for Stephen A. The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio.
Hey, stop racking your brain about what Valentine's gift is truly going to make her day special. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are a no-brainer. Right now, when you order early, you can get the 18-stemmed Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99 or double it to the 36-stem Enchanted Roses for $20 more. To order 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99 or double it for $20 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter the code Stephen A. Order today and save at 1-800-Flowers.com, code Stephen A. Hurry, the offer ends today.
I can't believe it.
That Gerald is presenting the quarterly budget report with finger puppets?
Look, here comes a 1.7% decrease in fixed overhead. Hello, everybody.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Who are you? The projected increase in organic Q3 revenue. Hooray!
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Puff Daddy and the Fam.
No,
this is the original.
This is the original that they sampled later.
It's Matt Barrie, Randy Scott in for Stephen A. Smith on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio.
Cred is through the roof.
ESPN app. Hey, the college basketball season is heating up. That means we must turn our attention to the Wendy's Wooden Watch. The John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award presented by Wendy's is the most prestigious individual honor in college basketball, awarded to the country's most outstanding player who's also making progress towards earning a degree. Go to ESPN.com and search Wooden Watch for the list of the Wooden Award late season top 20 nominees to watch as this season rolls on. Again, brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2019 John R. Wooden Player of the Year. One non-sports topic that I think deserves a lot of credit.
Please.
And it has, again, nothing to do with sports.
You pointed that out.
Is it time to get to this non-sports topic, which is how a trail runner, killed a mountain lion that sneak attacked him?
Who was the trail runner? Mick Dundee?
I think he hasn't been named because I don't think he wants media attention. Because I think there are animal fans out there who are like, couldn't you just negotiate with the lion? Why couldn't you just...
That's you, by the way.
No, it's not.
That is
you attack me.
You and your ilk. That's you. You would want to talk to the lion and see if you could.
Couldn't we just... It was, Colorado.
Can we...
I was thinking it was California. It was Colorado. And there's a guy who's just running. He's running. He's got his AirPods in because he's got that Lodo Denver money. And he's on a Colorado trail. And a mountain lion, as they do, attacked this guy, bit his face, and then the man said...
No way.
Yes.
There are holes in the story already.
What holes? There are holes in the guy's face. There are not holes in the story.
So the dude, you're telling me that this mountain lion just came out of nowhere.
Near Fort Collins, is Monday. Heard a noise, turned around, mountain lion on his face.
And the guy did what?
Killed it.
With what?
Bare hands.
No chance.
Killed it with his bare hands, suffocated it, according to... They did an autopsy on the lion. He was able to break free and kill the lion. Where am I getting this? This is the Seattle Times. Actually, the Associated Press via the Seattle Times. The lion was less than a year old, so maybe not full grown. I don't know.
So what would you have done in this situation? Because I'm so
died.
The thing,
Died. I would not be here.
Yeah, I'd be out.
I wouldn't trail run in Colorado to begin with.
Why not? You're not living with nature, man.
I don't need it. There's not enough granola in my diet.
Be at peace with nature.
Just be one, man.
He was definitely running with those shoes that fit in each toe.
Oh, the toe shoes.
The toe shoes.
Yes.
He was running with that. He had some clip-on belt from REI.
Yes, there's a carabiner for no reason.
And he was eating Cliff Bars.
That's what gave away his approximate location to the Beast.
The Cliff Bar?
Was that metal water bottle clanking against the carabiner.
Right.
It's not for climbing.
Right.
It's just more decorative.
It was like it's what made the mountain lion think that it was something other than a human.
I want to be clear and give this guy a lot of credit because he killed a beast, a predatory beast who had the first couple punches whilst bleeding from his face, and he took care of this lion. I want to give him credit for that. However,
what?
It's easily preventable by not running on trails in the lion's living room. That's basically what you're doing.
No, but
you're running in the lion's house.
Have you ever run on a trail? I used to run in trails all the time in Arizona.
No.
You'd see rattlesnakes.
Nope.
You'd see jackrabbits.
Why do people live in Arizona?
Because it's the greatest place on the planet.
The whole state is trying to get rid of humans. It's 100 degrees. It's 1,000 degrees.
I was just out there last week for the Waste Management Phoenix Ode. It's 70 degrees. What is it here?
Now, but like for 9 months of the year, it's inhospitable. You have scorpions.
Can I be crystal clear about
coyotes,
one thing here on the Stephen A. Smith Show? Matt Barrie, Randy Scott,
rattlesnakes.
I'm from Arizona. It's the greatest place on the planet.
That's why I'm taking shots.
Okay, so good. Do you want to do a home state off right now?
Virginia's not having a good couple of days.
Do you want to get into Virginia?
Virginia's not having a good couple of days on a macro level, but it's great. It's better weather than Arizona for more of the year.
How's the weather out here right now? Actually, it's quite pleasant
It's
today.
been fine, but that's not the point.
You get 3 months. I've discovered this. I've lived in every region of the country.
Lies.
Minus the Pacific Northwest.
Right, which is a significant reason.
But I've lived in 85% of the regions of this country.
Mm-hmm.
It is come to my attention that you were going to get 3 months of hell regardless of where you live. Be it 3 months of winter.
San Diego, California would beg to disagree.
72 degrees every day.
It's beautiful.
You know what they pay you in? 72 degrees.
That's true.
You're
That's
not.
true.
You know what? Go back to San Diego.
I can't afford it.
There you go.
I know.
So there's your three. You get 12 months of hell out there because you're paying in rent and cars.
Yep.
And
Gas.
a bottle of water's $8.
Yep. Smog tax, I'm sure.
See?
Something.
You get
emissions.
You get 3 months of disastrous situations wherever you live.
Colorado has great weather. I just would not go run where mountain lions are around.
I don't even know
it's
how you
easily preventable.
I'm not even sure where you gather the wherewithal that if a mountain lion comes diving on me to find a pressure point in its neck to choke it to death.
Okay. This. I'm glad you asked that.
Okay.
This leads to a larger topic, and we do have Jalen Rose and his comments on Zion Williamson that I promise we will get to.
That's a pro.
We're
segue.
never filling in on the show again. Just so you're clear.
So they were clear. We were last minute additions.
We were very low on the list. What is the largest animal you could kill with your bare hands?
The largest animal
if it attacked you first.
Attacked me first.
Because I know mine, and it's a debate among my friends. They don't think I could do it.
Oh, okay. You're probably going to go with a bear.
Mine's a raccoon. I could kill a raccoon.
A raccoon's not killing you.
It would try, though. I've heard from like Ryan Clark, who grew up in Louisiana, where this sort of thing is kind of like
maybe
it happens. Like, you have encounters with wildlife in Louisiana that you and I wouldn't believe. But Ryan's like, no, man, a raccoon mess you up.
They will. They're violent.
Right. So I'm saying you're taking the trash. And this could happen. This could happen. I'm not talking about mountain trails. I'm talking about you're in West Hartford, wherever you live. You're taking your trash out.
Yeah,
You catch a raccoon on like the wrong day. He's having a bad day, and he pounces at you.
I could punch it.
Suddenly,
I would punch it.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, I would punch
But
it.
apparently they jump.
Yeah,
I could still do it.
I would punch it.
That's the largest animal I could kill if I had to with my bare hands.
If I had to guess, I would go...
You're saying a bear?
No, a
possum.
possum.
Look at the ego on you. Possums are mean.
Possums are angry.
But they can't jump. You could stomp out a
You
possum.
could stomp. You could kick it.
But I'll tell you what, not a mountain lion. No chance.
Mountain lions are athletes.
No chance. Mountain lion, you would bury me right there.
What's a possum?
Oregon Trail style.
What's a possum? Is it
an opossum?
An opossum. They're different. It's different.
And they'll play dead. So you'll think you'll
that's
have
why
it beat.
There's that term you play possum. Lou Holtz used to play possum all the time as head coach. He'd say, that team's not that good. That team's not.
That's a good Lou Holtz. And they're bad. Yeah, they're bad Lou Holtz impressions out there. All right. So Matt Barrie, Randy Scott. Sorry, we went wildlife, but we were having that debate. And I just
What about underwater? Could you kill something underwater with your bare hands?
No.
What if a manatee just decided today was going to be your day? Could you do something about it?
Manatees are the angels of the sea world, so I wouldn't. I don't think a manatee.
A dolphin's been known to snap though too.
Yeah, dolphins get a lot of credit for being, human-esque.
They're like the yellow lab of sea creatures.
No, see, you have a yellow lab. I'm not going to insult a yellow lab. Never mind. I was going to say like dolphins are uniformly smart. Yellow labs, you'll get a dummy here or there.
Yeah, but
correct. They'll love you to death.
They will.
That's all it is. All right, let's get to what Jalen Rose had to say about
one
Zion
other thing on the
Williamson.
wildlife real quick.
Okay, sure, yeah. I don't want to move on.
No, we've got.
I haven't tried several times.
We've got another segment. Hang on a sec. Does it always drive you nuts because we're talking about wildlife killing someone that people get surprised when someone works with lions for a living and they get attacked? Or like when someone's diving with Shamu at SeaWorld, orcas are killer whales.
Yeah.
Why does this always surprise us?
I don't think it's if it does surprise you, you're not paying attention because it's truth in advertising for the killer whale to do that. Is it not? Like it's very on brand for a killer whale to be like, "Hey,
today's the day.
You're coming to the bottom of the tank with me."
You know what?
But
this is my.
But that's why they don't do that. Like I don't know if you've been to SeaWorld in the last 5 years, but it's not.
Is SeaWorld still open?
Barely. I think it's still around.
Cat, do we still have SeaWorld? Cat doesn't know.
I think it's pivoted to like a conservancy thing.
What does that mean?
They've taken a PR hit. We'll just say that. Like SeaWorld hasn't had a good couple of years. It's like the Bitcoin of the entertainment amusement park.
Oh, what do you mean? Bringing in and caging killer animals that have attacked didn't do well for business?
Remember the droopy fin? Remember the droopy fin? It's not a good look. Remember Free Willy? That's like the one thing I learned about Free Willy was when a wild killer whale is jailed, right? And brought into captivity as a form of protest and sadness, the dorsal fin droops.
One thing I remember about Free Willy is that was Michael Jackson was still going strong in Free Willy.
Will you be there?
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of a I'm still here moment.
Bangers.
Yeah, now you can get Jalen Rose. Go ahead, segue there.
Speaking of bad PR, King of Pop, it's been bad. It's been bad for a couple months. That's back. It's back in the news.
Is it?
Yeah, Netflix is bringing all the Ted Bundy stuff and bringing back.
Wait a second. What am I missing on Netflix that I shouldn't be?
I think I've said too much. Should we get to Jalen or
no? We've already wasted this segment of national radio.
That's a bad pivot.
What?
This guy killed a mountain lion with his bare hands.
What's going on Netflix that I need to see?
The Ted Bundy thing. Have you seen that?
The Ted Bundy tapes. What did that have to do with Michael Jackson?
It didn't have to do with. It's just some bad stuff that happened years ago that's being brought back because there are more resources and more platforms to watch it.
So in my time in L.A.
I spent all my time ESPN Plus.
So do I.
Just the 30 for 30s.
You also watch TV while you're driving back up to Boston.
I don't do that anymore. I do that when Game of Thrones is out. And I listen to it.
Back April 19th.
I get to work and you yahoos just ruin plots at 8 in the morning.
Sorry.
Did you see Game of Thrones last night? Did you see what happened with Dragon?
I'm one of those people that respect that you get 24 hours.
Drogon, by the way. There are 3 dragons, and one of their names is literally Dragon.
It's just
what is that?
It's got an emphasis on the other syllable.
We've got actual sports to get to.
Real quick, though, I will say while we're on this Netflix thing, before we go to break, you've got a second.
Yeah, okay.
There's billboards all over Los Angeles. There is a Lorena Bobbitt original coming out on Amazon.
And it's
called Lorena.
There are 2 generations that don't know what that is that are going to learn.
That
happened in the early 90s.
91, I would bet.
Sure. Okay.
Remember that alternative, that alt-rock song, I'm Half the Man I Used to Be?
Yes, I do. Was that about that?
I don't know.
But Google Lorena Bobbitt Children's, and you'll see. Don't do it at work, though. That's NSFW. We don't want to.
Toss to break so I can do my life.
All right. We will get Jalen Rose is somewhat critical of Zion Williamson, but is he wrong? I don't know that he is. Matt Barrie, Randy Scott, we're in for Stephen A. for the first and last time on the Stephen A. Smith Show.
One night and one night only.
On ESPN Radio.
Hey, do you have frequent heartburn? Like the kind where you have antacids stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag, desk, car, nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. Prilosec OTC, just 1 pill a day, will last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. Kick your antacid habit. It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
I bet Doug Kazarian drives a Mazda Miata.
Like a real small one?
Yeah. I bet.
But like top down.
Top down.
When it's like 50.
Screaming out money in a thing.
Yeah.
Wears his hat backwards.
There it is. Like Jermaine Dupri video.
Yeah.
Shot-for-shot remake.
Cut off shirt.
We're back. Wait, hold on.
That's Kazarian.
Matt Barrie, Randy Scott, we're back with you on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Stephen A. With some much-deserved hours off. We can't even say a day because I'm sure he did one of his other 4 or 5 jobs.
He was on first take
there you
today.
go.
Yeah.
A reminder, with 1-800-Flowers.com, Valentine's is a no-brainer. They have the best bouquets and deals around, like the 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99, or you double it to 36 stems for $20 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Quick question for you, not sports. We will get to sports.
Shocking.
But quick, does your wife get anything for you for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, she loves buying me stuff for Valentine's Day, even though I keep telling her no.
My wife stopped.
See, mine...
Is that bad?
Yeah, it is
bad.
bad.
That's bad.
Because here's the deal. I feel like she buys me things to get something. I think she's laundering gifts for her own benefit.
How? Oh, really?
Yeah. I think because she knows that she's going to get me something, now I have to go out of my way to get her something.
Well, you were going to do it anyway. I just feel like, I wonder the percentage.
I don't know that I was.
No? You weren't getting for Valentine's Day? Come on.
What? But why do we have to?
You're a bad, how do I put this? You're a bad person, but you're a good husband. You're a good partner. But you're not a good human.
I'm a great human being. But I just don't understand why
why the one day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I show my love and affection
romantic.
364 days a year.
I don't doubt it one bit.
On the one day I'm supposed to, I'm not going to.
Jalen Rose, earlier today on Get Up, he was talking about Zion Williamson, who had a historic night last night for Duke.
Will Kane will get to that.
Second major program freshman to put up the line that he had. It was 15 points, 15 rebounds, and handful of blocks and assists. The other one was Kevin Durant, all right? That's how good it's been for Zion. But Jalen Rose threw a little water on the whole Zion love fest. Here's what he had to say.
I need everybody to pump the brakes on something.
You called him 30.
Zion is a terrific, amazing, wonderful, fantastic prospect. Okay? I see him as a guy that has the chance to be a perennial all-star, possibly all-NBA. But I don't see Zion as an MVP player in the league.
I might not disagree with it, but I see him as a personality, and the joy that he plays with, and the enthusiasm that he plays with is contagious.
I don't see him on the next level as the best player on a championship team.
There you go, as promised, Jalen Rose.
There it is.
You teased it for an hour.
I actually don't disagree with him.
He doesn't need to be, if he goes, see,
MVP is a very small group, dude.
But here's the other thing. I don't like handing players championships when they're going to be on the 3 worst teams in the league.
Yeah, like
Phoenix, New York.
Yeah. But things can
Chicago.
change so dramatically and so quickly. All right, R.I.P. to that mountain lion. R.I.P. to our chances of ever hosting this show again.
I think you're selling us short.
I don't know, man. Maybe a different show, like a Spain and Fitz, if they're out, when they're out. Matt Barrie, Randy Scott. Up next is the Will Kane Show on ESPN.
You think we'd ever get a shot at Golick and Wingo?
Nah, man. We got other morning obligations. SportsCenter AM. Matt's there tomorrow on ESPN. Enjoy the rest of your
takes
day.
a lot of days off.
I need everybody to pump the brakes on something.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth, you will certainly send any text about your supervisor to your supervisor.
What's with Janet's bangs? Did she lose a bet with a weed whacker? LOL. And send. Wait, no.
Truth, it's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at Geico.com.
Janet, I think my phone was hacked or something.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.